Send it to the intro. Have with you my favorite, your favorite, our champion from last year, and the not so good looking. Oh, I mean, he's fine. He's giving me a look over there. Not so good looking team from this year, Jacob, with me.
Hey guys.
And yeah, we are ready to talk about everything week 8 in the Ultimate Keeper League. But first, before we get started, just get started with our real football talk. I was wondering, what do we think about sports betting becoming best friends with the NFL?
I don't like that the NFL has a selected sports betting partner. Has an official sports betting partner. There's an official sports betting partner of the NFL. That just seems wrong.
Yeah, it's really it's not good. I mean, following the face mask in the end zone of Sam Darnold, I'm not saying that changed anything, but the 7 first downs conversions made on the 7 third down conversions made on, was it 5? 5. The 5 third down conversions made on penalties called on the Vikings for the Rams. A lot of people online were immediately very, very
did you hear
conspiratorial.
Well, did you hear what % of the money was on the Vikings?
I'm sure it was a lot. The odds were, I think, 7 points in favor of the Vikings,
okay.
Right?
I don't know what the spread was, but 90% of the money was on the Vikings.
Yeah. Okay. So Vegas,
and I believe, and I could be wrong. But I believe the previous week, the books took a pretty bad beating.
Here we are balancing the books via the NFL.
And then the whole fact that the NFL is an entertainment league or whatever.
Oh yeah, I mean technically they don't have to provide anything fair.
Technically, they can rig every game if they want.
Yes, they can.
Legally they can.
Yeah.
What probably not true, but it definitely opens itself up to conspiracy theories, right?
Oh yeah, and like I said, many of the reactions online were like, one person was like, oh, yeah, don't worry about sports betting becoming best friends with the NFL. Like, it's not going to be an issue. But here we are. And this is not just me saying this as a Vikings fan who's sore about us losing to the Rams. This is like, I think it's a very real possibility.
The fact that you can't say it's not is concerning, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, and again, they have. I don't believe there's any fixing of games. I don't think they're actually rigging games. But the fact that they leave it open, and the fact that if they wanted to, it wouldn't be too hard to.
Right. If they wanted to, it wouldn't be hard. Human error is always blamed. Reffing is inconsistent across the board. Has been for years. Who knows? But I think the fact that there is something, the meme of the NFL script, widely talked about the NFL would like certain outcomes, and I think that maybe we're going to see those become more prevalent, but who knows? All right, let's start with our Week 8 recap. So if you remember, last week we told you that this week of Week 8 was going to be all the rematches of the Week 1 matchups. So we've cycled through, and everybody has played everybody at least once, I believe, and now we are cycling back through our matchups. So
we'll start recapping. We'll go with my game, and don't forget we also picked for the first time on this podcast. We picked winners last week.
Did. Do you remember who you picked?
I know who I picked. Do you remember who you picked? We
I-
actually agreed, except for our games.
Okay.
You picked against me, and I picked against you. Other than that, we actually agreed.
We agreed.
Yeah,
So we picked you.
No, I
Wait.
picked me. You picked David.
Oh, I picked David. Yeah, you're right.
And obviously I did win. Pretty bad injury game for both. Like both teams, I felt had a pretty bad injury that had to be compensated for. Jordan Love going out for David. Jordan Mason touching the ball 3 times before his shoulder didn't let him play, even though his helmet was on. It caused for a very stressful Monday night for me.
I stand by my pick, actually. And obviously it was very feasible for David to win this matchup.
Mm-hmm.
He got, Jordan Love.
He got injured during the second half, I believe.
Yeah, he did. He only got 5 points for him. And especially hard, David made a move this last week to drop Patrick Mahomes for Juwan Jennings, who...
Patrick Mahomes didn't do much, did he?
I don't know what he got. I think he got like 17 points or something.
He got more
like
than
that.
5.
Yeah, more than 5. Dropped a solid quarterback just to have. I mean, he can pick him up again. I don't know if he even has.
He's available, but
Juwan Jennings got 0 points, sat on his bench. Want to remind you that Juwan Jennings, this is his second time on David's team. He spent 1 week on David's team last time and got him 11 points. Dropped it like it was hot the next week.
yes.
He is already off of David's team again to spoil some of the waiver moves that were made. So,
I mean, Juwan Jennings and David are almost like Sam and Isaiah Likely, Benton and Mark Andrews. Yep. They're maybe not quite Benton and Mark Andrews committed relationship level yet, but they're getting there.
There is a lot of going back to your ex in this league.
Yes.
Because you just don't know. You just don't know what guy's going to get hot. And you try to pick them up while they're hot, and you drop them when they're not.
Yeah. I do think it's worth noting before David complains, both teams here, my team and David, both had a lot of points on the bench. Like, David had 63 total bench points. I had 67 total bench points, both with 2 injured guys included in that bench total.
Right.
So just not a great showing by either of us, total points wise. Injuries didn't help, but thankful I came out with the win.
Yeah. So I also wanted to note, so David has Tucker Kraft and Sam Laporta.
Yeah.
Just thought it was interesting. No matter which one he started, he couldn't make a wrong choice this week because they got the same amount of points.
No, they did.
16.8. Just kind of weird. I also noticed while I was looking at David's team, he is really, really hurting in the wide receiver department, other than Puka.
And DeAndre Hopkins is going to play more this week, so
we'll see.
Beware.
I mean, Puka came back with a fury, so
yeah,
excited about that. I'm sure David's excited about Puka, and
maybe are we going to rebrand back?
Are we going to go back to the Puka Power?
Are we going to go back to the X? Puka Power?
Maybe. Because right now his whole brand is that he's a rebrand. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, Puka Power maybe.
Yeah. Next game we have Benton versus Boompa. One of the top teams versus one of the bottom teams, no matter how you slice it, even though, I mean, worse luck, worse record. Sorry, Benton.
1-7 is just really, really just hard to look at, honestly. And like, my record's not much better, Benton, but it really is hard.
So to add almost insult to this injury, technically, this wasn't even an unlucky loss for Benton.
I know, because he was number 5.
He was number 5. Missed this. You were number 4. Benton, you scored 128.6. Benton scored 128.3. So couple yards, and he could have at least held on to the fact that it was an unlucky loss. But
I get that now.
Yeah.
I get that victim card to play.
Oh,
yeah, it was an unlucky loss.
Yep, you do. You're right.
Yeah, Benton and Boompa's game here. What's sad is that there was pretty solid numbers from every player on Benton's team.
Yes.
Like you don't complain. Okay, so the only one I'd really complain about is CJ Stroud. And obviously, like when you have Jaden Daniels sitting on the bench getting 10 more points than that, you're looking at this going, oh, man, that couldn't have even got me the win. But you still at least wouldn't be looking at a big old 12 in your QB slot. But, yeah, nothing really to complain about for Benton. Just kind of some average performances except for James Cook. Like, literally everybody was in the mid, like, teens except for James Cook.
And, I mean, Ravens defense scoring 0 didn't help. But, like, if you get that performance, most weeks you're going to be happy with it.
It does sting a little, especially looking at Boompa's team, which was the exact same, pretty much, except for one guy.
And that was basically the difference, the scoring difference here.
It was more than the scoring difference.
Well, especially when you consider the Chargers. Did you see there was a stat correction? I believe that happened today for Chargers defense special teams.
No.
It had to deal with the safety that they essentially allowed. For a while, they were being charged with 8 points against their defense special teams because the safety occurred while the Chargers were punting. And then ESPN corrected that and said the special teams unit didn't give up the 2 points from the safety.
Sure.
So it moved it from one scoring level to a different.
Oh, okay.
So I think he got like an extra point or two.
Well, yeah, so CeeDee Lamb scored 39.6 points. And maybe he got helped out a little bit with that.
Yeah.
But that is just a monstrous. What was even the stat line here for CD? Let me look at this.
It was like 13 catches, 2 touchdowns, and 100 yards or something like that.
Just crazy. Yeah, so sorry, Benton. I mean, average numbers. Boompa had average numbers except for one
Yep.
really standout guy. So I'm not sure why Boompa won't trade me CD. I've offered to, give him my whole team, and he doesn't want it. So
we do have a question in the chat. When is our trade deadline? I just looked this up. It is November 27th at 11 a.m. For whatever reason, I guess you set it for 11 a.m. that day. What day of the week is
Thanksgiving.
that?
That's a Wednesday.
So it's
November 27th is a Wednesday.
Okay. Weird.
November 28th is Thanksgiving.
So maybe it's 24 hours before the first game that week.
When's our playoffs?
Great question.
I will get some information, some clarity regarding that.
We have 13 regular season matchups. Playoffs are week 14, 15, and then 16, 17.
Okay. We'll get a end season, postseason lineup, and all that information for you next week. All right. So who did we pick for that game? We both picked Boompa, and we're right about that.
Yep. And then next we have your matchup,
Yep.
the Idiot versus All Boom No Bust, and All Boom No Bust was looking like he was going to run away with it for a while. Ross, like Jalen Hurts went off.
Yeah, he really did. That's pretty much it.
Oh yeah, like
He had
overall
Hurts and Jamar Chase, only players over 20.
right. Ross, and it's a very similar stat line to Benton.
Yeah.
Except for Jalen Hurts scored a little
Points.
more. That's that's what put him over the 130 versus your 128.
Yeah.
Your 128 is not quite a consistent 16, 17 across the board. You had 20s and 4s.
Yeah.
Really, if you want to look at this game, Luke, the Vikings defense really let you down here.
Maybe this is why I took up offense with the sports betting, because this whole game not only affected me as a Vikings fan, but also affected my fantasy team. Because here I am thinking, okay, it's the 2-5 Rams versus the Vikings, who and obviously Vegas thought most of the money was on the Vikings, all of that sort of deal. I was definitely thinking the Vikings would absolutely drop the hammer on them. And so I'm putting Jordan Addison in there. I'm like, surely he's going to find the end zone. He's going to get a few catches. And so he doesn't, obviously. Gets me 4 points. The defense gets me 0 points because they didn't do anything spectacular, and the refs just kept giving third down after third down away.
Yep. But Luke, even in retrospect, you're not going to start Chris Olave against the Chargers. You're not going to start Romeo Dobbs, but I don't think that would put you over.
If I started Chris Olave, it would have put me over.
Yes, but Romeo Doubs wouldn't have.
No. I probably would have started Chris Olave.
Okay.
Debo was questionable, so I wouldn't have started him. I would have started Chris Olave over Jordan Addison probably any day if I didn't think Jordan Addison had the more favorable matchup.
Exactly. Like, I feel like even in hindsight, I'm picking Addison against the Rams over Olave versus the Chargers.
Yeah,
when you consider who's throwing to Olave, especially.
Yeah, it was a matchup choice for sure.
But like I think overall it actually ended a lot closer than at least I expected. I know you said you were going to win. But
well, so I was actually playing pickleball Monday night while the Steelers were playing, and I knew that my kicker had to have an 18-point differential
he
from
came
his
close.
kicker.
He came close,
and they got two. I think he got two in the first quarter. Two field goals in the first quarter.
I believe 9-9 at half or something.
So
close to
I was
that.
like, "Oh my goodness, am I going to do this?"
It was possible, but then Russ started to cook.
Well, obviously you picked correctly in that one.
Well, and speaking of Russ, the quarterback of Sam's team did not lead Sam to a victory like he did for the Steelers.
Yeah, we're moving on to the Wiz versus the Romness.
Can we just really? I think you need to just acknowledge that the Wiz is for real.
Oh yeah, Wiz is for real. I mean,
Wiz, I think he's a playoff team this year, and I'm saying that as he's probably kicking me out of the playoffs.
It's kind of crazy. Somehow he wheedles his way in, and I think you're right. I think he'll be a playoff team this year. The question is, can he? His team is actually surprisingly good.
He's got two strong running backs. He's got Lamar Jackson, who I've said over and over, I think he's one of the best positional advantages you can have. Diggs going down hurts. Devontae Adams is just a bag of something.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about Adams. Jaden Reed is maybe hurt by Malik Willis playing now, but
the Hawk coming back, I mean, his tight end could be greatly improved here soon.
Somebody looking to trade for Zach Ertz, maybe?
Calvin Ridley went off. I don't know if you saw his stat line, but it was like 11 or 12 catches for 100 and some yards.
It's pretty good.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so Mark, your team is for real.
He's for
and
real.
We're acknowledging. Now, on the other side of this game,
I don't like if you just read the names of Sam's team, I mean, ignoring Russell Wilson, I think Sam's stuck in kind of being a quarterback nomad like me, and that is just a bad place to be, let me tell you. But like Kenneth Walker, pretty good. I mean, he single-handedly beat you that one week.
Yeah, he did.
Tyreek Hill, DJ Moore, George Kittle, even Chuba Hubbard this year. And then after that, he just goes to like mid-city. And
yeah.
And like Rashad White, ETN, Worthy, JSN, Wandelay, who he dropped. He also dropped Bateman. But like
he did, yeah.
All of these guys going into the season, you had a lot higher hopes for, and they fell very, very flat.
The chief offender is Tyreek Hill.
Well, Tyreek Hill with Tua scores on average like 19 or 20 points. Without Tua, he scores like 7.
So Sam's worst position is absolutely, unequivocally the wide receiver position. I did some looking at his team across the 8 weeks. So his starting wide receivers netted him an average of 9.9 points each week. Like that's combined. That is combined each week. He's averaging between, whether he's starting 2 or 3, he's averaging 9.9 from his wide receivers per week.
That's really bad.
So
wait, total?
Total.
Or each of them?
No, total.
Holy buckets, Sam.
So his first week, oh wait, no, that's wrong.
9.9.
That would be the average per.
Okay, yeah, that makes more sense. Still bad, but that's
the average per wide receiver. So when Sam starts a wide receiver, on average he will get under 10 points.
Yikes.
That's what's going on. I'm looking at I mean,
chief offender has to be Michael Pittman, right?
No, Pittman was dropped by week 4, wasn't he?
Okay.
But like I'm looking at Sam's, all of his wide receivers.
Yeah.
He had a 5.4 and a 13.2 in week. Let's see, that's working backwards. That's this last week, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, let's just say we believe you.
Week 7, 2.3 and 8.3. Week 6 was 6.10 and 8.3. A better week for him. Week 5 was his best week by far, 27.5 and 16 points.
I think that's the week he went against you.
That is. I was.
You were 0
No, I was
5.
0-3 when we went against each other, wasn't I?
I don't know.
And then I was 0-4 against him.
Okay.
The week he played me, I think he got 8.2 and 11.2.
Okay.
He had a 7 and a 0 in week 3. He had 5.1, 6.6, and 4.2. He started 3 guys who all got under 7 points in week 2. And then week 1, of course, Tyreek went off with 26 points.
Right.
But
That was...
So, yes, when Sam starts...
So I texted Sam and about this whole idea of Tua, and he's like, I said Tua's back this week, so Tyreek might actually be good. He said, yeah, that's assuming Tua's back and not Antonio Brown. We're all worried for Tua.
That's... Yeah, I mean, he's going to have CTE, absolutely.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right. Let's move on to some awards here, buddy.
Okay. Let me get my awards ready. Whoa, what's this? What is that? Oh, yeah, okay. I got it. No, we're good.
Okay.
I was just figuring out how I'm going to do my awards.
All right. So these are officially, the Luke Ambrose Awards.
But really, Jacob is the one who assigns them every week.
Well,
so.
That's only because I start. I actually leave them empty as long as I can.
No, it's all good.
So we got the Gritty Award.
That's Boompa. Over 150 this week.
Which always monumental to break the 150.
In our league, I don't feel like it is.
It wasn't last year. It sure is this year.
It definitely has been, which is, again, really just weird to think about. That the ceiling has dropped so much.
Yeah. So last week we talked about best bench becoming mismanager.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know where we went with that.
I mean,
because the answer to who had the best bench and who was the mismanager are 2 different answers this week.
I've kind of always, in the past, I've just kind of looked at who missed the biggest boom on their bench. That was when I was writing these up.
Right.
That's what I was looking at.
Because mismanager somehow, to some extent, implies that you could have won if you managed your team better.
There is some aspect to that. So, I mean, you take that all into consideration.
Okay, so who wins best bench this week / mismanager?
I would probably say best bench mismanager this week is David.
Okay, because Ross technically had the better bench.
Ross had the better bench. Yeah, Ross had 110 points on his bench.
Unbelievable.
Which is crazy. He
he
didn't need them to beat me.
Right.
He almost needed them to beat me. But It's going to go to David this week because didn't start Puka on the return game.
Yeah.
And then missed Ramondre, who didn't he trade for?
A couple weeks back.
A couple weeks back. So he traded for Ramondre, and I don't think he's found value in Ramondre quite yet. And it's really hard to trust a Patriot this year.
It very much is.
But yeah, to mismanage it and then to lose so closely too.
Right. Okay. Okay. So let's move on to the waiver winner. I thought there was a pretty clear one, even though the waiver pickup didn't start. Ross picking up Cade Otton and then Cade Otton immediately going for about 30 points. You can't not give it to Ross here.
Yeah, and Cade Otton is Ross turned around that kind of he's selling high. Although the trade that he made with Boompa for Deontay Johnson,
interesting,
because when Boompa offers you a trade, you can almost always guarantee you're going to see that guy on the waivers the next week.
Do you think Boompa offered Ross this trade, or did Ross offer Boompa this trade? Because Ross has been...
you know what? I bet Ross offered Boompa the trade. Why does Ross want Deontay Johnson?
Maybe he was... I don't know. I think this trade went through before Deontay was traded himself, like to the Ravens. So I don't know if Ross was hoping he was going to be traded to, I don't know, the Jets. I can't think of another
something else.
Some team that needs a wide receiver, but unfortunately for Ross, or who knows. We'll see how it works out, how Deontay Johnson's role is on the Ravens, but I just see the Ravens as a run-first team. I can't see Deontay Johnson doing better than on the Ravens than he was doing with the Panthers when he was healthy.
It seems, I mean, to me, it just seems like classic. Like, you can see Ross's strategy here of, like, he had 3 good tight ends on his team, and now he's just trying to sell them off.
Yep.
Other than Brock Bowers, which I think he's sticking with because Trey McBride has been in my inbox for a while.
Same.
Multiple times.
Ross has been the trade guy this season.
But Ross, good job on the pickups. You're doing a great job. Ross is a waiver hawk.
He is. Both the Miltimore boys.
Both the Miltimores, yes. They are.
Yes.
They are, I'm sure they're on the Reddits like, who should you pick up this week?
So Russell Wilson Award, another just kind of an interesting award, especially as he continues to win and be a little less cringy just because he's winning. You can get away with more as you win, right?
Yeah.
Who wins Russell Wilson Award this week?
Oh, man. To me, it's got to be Sam.
Just for starting him?
He started him, and Sam, once again, has found himself under 100 points, which means he is now the front runner and the president of the under 100 club.
Congratulations,
because
Sam.
he has 3 entries in under 100 this season.
Congratulations. Big news.
So, yeah. Congratulations, Sam. You are Russell Wilson, Mr. Unlimited this week. And you are the new president of the under 100 club.
All right.
There was no election needed. I know we're in election season. There were a bunch of mail-in ballots that came in.
All right, let's move on to waivers, right? Is that what we do next?
Yeah, let's talk about the waivers, just the movement we've seen
the last couple days.
The last few days,
well, really this morning.
Yeah, just today, actually.
So, obviously, yesterday, news broke. Mr. I'm tired, coach, I need a break is being benched in Indianapolis. Have you heard about this?
No. He said that to his coach?
Yes.
Anthony Richardson said, I'm tired.
He sat out 2 plays because he was tired.
You don't do that.
I don't know what his final stat line was, but he completed like 6 passes all game, no less.
You don't do that.
Yes. So
what?
Joe is the new starting quarterback, Joe Flacco. So, of course, Josh Downs is picked up during the waiver transaction period, and then I also saw you picked up Michael Pittman. I think those are going to be 2 players to watch this week and in the near future.
Ladd McConkey is back
on the contenders.
He is another.
He's back with the X.
Yeah, he's another lover who.
Yes.
Boompa sneaks in and out.
Also, guess who's back on a fantasy roster this week? Kyle Pitts. When you don't know where to go, you go to Kyle Pitts. To be fair, Kyle Pitts went off, right? He scored like 20-some points, couple long touchdowns. And also, I do want to make this point. His 2 best games have come against the Bucs.
The Bucs, yeah.
So
Kirk's 2 best games have come against the Bucs.
Exactly. So let's see if Kyle Pitts can do something against another team.
Yeah, that would be nice.
If Sam is starting him, I can guarantee Kyle Pitts is going to get 8 points, nothing more. Kyle Pitts is just the Pitts.
Sam also traded in Russell Wilson, Mr. Unlimited, for Bo Nix.
Which, interesting move considering this week Bo is going against Baltimore. Baltimore doesn't by any means have a great defense like they have historically. But you look at because I looked at picking up Bo Nix myself.
Yeah.
But you look at Bo Nix's good games, mainly against bad defenses.
Yeah.
And so this week he's got Baltimore. Next week he has Kansas City, and then Atlanta. Which Atlanta, who knows what kind of defense they have? It kind of depends on the week, but definitely. Sam, I'm just letting you know, drop Bo Nix before he plays Kansas City. You're not going to get points out of him that week. A lot of defenses getting moved. Kirk Cousins gets added.
Yeah, I saw that. Instead of Jordan Love, we're going to have Kirk Cousins on the rebrand.
Well, Jordan Love is still on the team. He's just on the bench, right?
Yeah. I don't think he'll play.
Alexander Madison?
Yeah, I dropped Zach Moss. I'm sick of. I can't trust him. At the beginning of the season, I thought I could trust him. And
His role has definitely diminished as the season's gone on.
he has. I don't think I've started him a single week.
Okay. And
So he sat on.
What's
ridden
the thought
bench.
behind Alexander Madison? Because I feel like you're getting the same player out of him on probably just as bad of a team.
Just switching it up. I just don't trust him. I'm looking for something
Okay.
spectacular out of Madison, and if he does it, maybe I can,
All right.
take a favorable matchup
All
or
right.
something.
And one of the Miltimore Hawks also picked up Cedric Tillman after his big week.
Yeah, I don't know that I would trust anybody on Cleveland.
If Jameis is quarterback? I don't know.
Maybe.
So,
This is the way. That's the way Ross thinks for sure. So, I mean, like I said, Ross is a Hawk, not TJ Hawk. But he is a Hawk.
Ross is saying that you're going dumpster diving.
Well,
And then
there is definitely some truth to that. My running back position has slowly degraded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we also do have to mention the trade that went through yesterday.
Yes, we
We've
alluded to it.
alluded to it, but Kate Otten for Deontay Johnson, which not only is it an interesting trade just based on the players that get traded, I don't know. Maybe Ross is really is buying low on Deontay Johnson and selling high on Kate Otten, but also like the teams that traded, like our top two teams.
Yeah.
We're talking juggernauts.
Yeah.
So we'll see who wins this trade and if it has an effect later on.
I think the only effect it could have would be a positive for Boompa.
I agree.
And so is this what takes out Ross in the championship?
Wouldn't
Cade Otten.
wouldn't
We'll keep an eye on him.
Yes. So save this for later. We'll put this in our notes to talk about during playoffs. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the luck standings.
Okay. Luke, I thought you were what I'm so confused about. Weren't you neutral last week or no?
I think I was.
Or were you
I was
plus
lucky
one?
+1.
Okay. Yeah.
So now I'm neutral.
So now you're neutral, and I am now the happy holder of a lucky +2 label.
You sure are.
Sometimes you don't have to be good; you just got to be lucky. And my team is very much not reflective of its record, and I will be the first to admit it. In the same way that Benton, I'm sorry, you're still lucky -2 or unlucky -2 by yourself. Yeah.
Interesting, Boompa and Rasa both had unlucky
Losses, yes.
losses, which actually makes sense because their teams consistently do well.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, your record is much better than it should be.
Yes. 100% agree. Do you want to dive into the positional power ranks?
Sure.
Which, Luke, you ruined the 8 seeds win streak last week.
Yeah, I wanted to keep it up, but
You came close. I have to give it. As we've talked, you came close.
and I would have taken out Ross too, which would have been nice.
And then just due to the fact that there were 2 4 seeds last week, we actually did have a 4 seed winner with the Wiz picking up a win. So I may drop this in the following weeks now that every seed has gotten a win, and really these ranks mean nothing in my opinion. Let me know either in the group chat or let me know if you want to keep this going. Otherwise, I'll just drop it. I don't find a lot of information is gleaned from this. Luke, any thoughts?
I mean, we could drop it. I think you should keep it up. We might not mention it in the podcast.
Okay.
Just maybe mention it at the end.
Okay.
See if there are any trends that.
Oh yeah, that could be fun. Just look at overall record by each rank.
Yeah.
That could be interesting. Okay.
Power ranks.
Once again,
No surprises here.
don't know. Yeah. No surprises here at all. Ross just destroying us. I don't think those percents are right, but yeah, those percents might not be right. But against all, the number that we are actually basing this on is all right. So, no surprise, Ross and Boompa just maintained those top spots. Luke, you maintained 3, and David maintains 4.
And yet I don't think I'm going to be a playoff team.
No. You're and what this really tells me, especially because you're neutral, right?
Yeah.
Is you must finish right around that 4-5 slot
Every week.
every week. Versus me, who I have 5 wins now.
Yeah.
I'm the 6th best team according to this analytic stat, and that's just because of my unlucky wins, right?
Yeah.
I'm 1 win away from being tied with 8th.
Yeah.
Of note, there is a tie at 7, but I ranked Benton 7 and Sam 8 because Sam scored less points this week.
He's president of the under 100 club, so.
Yes.
Yeah, this really just makes me sad about my team.
Yes. So an interesting, and not, it's really wouldn't make a big difference, but an interesting thing that I've seen other leagues do is they essentially have a similar to like that luck ranking is each team plays the median score each week, so you could get 2 wins each week.
Oh.
And
And then they add that in.
It just helps to
balance the luck.
I
like the luck.
I like the luck. It's part of fantasy
Oh,
football.
yeah, for sure.
I especially like the luck when it's going my way. Sorry, Benton. Yeah. So, I think that brings us into our Week 9 preview.
We got to pick them.
We got to pick them. Oh, man. Who do we have first?
Rebrand versus the Romness. So, David versus Sam.
Versus the Romness.
Slight
favor right now. Well, not slight. It's but Sam has George Kittle not replaced. How do you feel about this, Lukey?
Let me pull this up on the scoreboard. Let me
so,
see this.
David replacing or David starting Kirk Cousins. I feel like is an interesting move. Dallas by no means has a good team.
No,
but Dallas has been primarily dismantled by the run. Also interesting. Do you know who Dallas's defensive coordinator is? It has been mentioned on the podcast before.
Thick Mikey.
Yeah. And do you know who Thick Mikey hates more than anything in the world?
Who?
Kirk Cousins.
Why?
Because he thinks Kirk Cousins led to his downfall.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if that's actually true, but I get that there was some animosity between the two of them.
Wow, that's interesting.
So it'll be an interesting
Bountygate?
I'm just saying it'll be an interesting match. How do you feel? Who are you taking here?
I'm going to take David.
Okay.
I just like his team much more. Sam, like I said, is really struggling at the wide receiver slot. David has Drake London, who has the potential to go off against Dallas, and Puka, who I think is just going to get more targets. I really liked what I saw out of Jonathan Taylor this last week too. But he's playing against us, so I don't know if that's going to be good. But Joe Flacco, who knows? That team is totally different.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that Green Bay is going to get destroyed by Detroit, and
okay.
I think so.
Yeah. We'll see, right?
Yep.
I'm actually going to go against you, and I'm going to say Sam's going to win this one. It's a little bit of an upset pick by me. I see a lot of David's players underperforming this week. I don't have actually who's projected what in front of me, but I do like Kenneth Walker against the Rams. I do like Tyreek Hill, just with Tua being back. I don't see him not scoring a touchdown this week. Texans defense against the Jets looks good to me. It'll be interesting to see who Sam fills that tight. Oh, it's Kyle Pitts. Ooh. I'm still gonna
at Dallas.
I'm still sticking with Sam just to kind of pick against you here. I don't like Kirk Cousins or the Atlanta. I don't like the Atlanta passing offense this week.
Well, I still think David's got it.
We'll see.
Yep,
we'll see. Next, we have Contenders versus the Idiot.
Okay. Yikes.
Well, the Contenders are currently a 7-point favorite, 6.5. I'm assuming you're going to pick yourself.
It would be really sad if I didn't, but I think I actually am going to pick Boompa.
Really?
Yeah. And the reason that I say that is just because I don't like a lot of the matchups that I have this week.
Baker?
I don't like Baker's matchup against KC.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about switching him out, but I really like him and I don't want to lose him.
Yeah. I mean, you have a kicker you could drop.
I like Boswell too, and he's on bye.
Okay.
These are top, they're both number 2 in their position.
You could drop Alexander Madison.
I really could. I might do that. So maybe we'll see about that. But I just I don't have a whole lot of faith in really anybody else on my team right now. Okay, so Chris Olave should, maybe he'll dunk on Carolina. Really highly doubt it.
So last time, week 2, Buffalo played Miami. I believe Josh Allen scored 7 points that game. Just saying. Dalton Kincaid did not score much either. That was the James Cook game.
Oh, okay.
You remember that?
Yes,
yeah.
I do remember that. The Benton James Cook game.
And Benton still lost.
And he still lost.
Yeah.
So who are you picking?
That's a tough one. I'm going to go with you, Luke.
Okay, well, that is really sad that I'm picking against me and you are picking me.
I mean, especially if you're going to make a change at quarterback, I like your team.
Well, I might not.
Just you'd rather be right on this podcast recap than actually win fantasy football. Now that's sad.
I'm going to go pick up Anthony Richardson. I think that he'll really do well.
Joe Flacco, I'm telling you.
I'm tired, coach.
All right. Next, I think, is it
You're
my
playing
game?
Goalie.
Yeah.
Isn't that it? Okay.
Yeah. Yes, we got myself against one of my favorite teams in the league, Cheese Whiz.
You are a Cheese Whiz homer.
I am a big Cheese Whiz fan.
Cow.
What?
Who does he have on? Why is he projected 90 points?
He's projected 124.
Oh, previous matchup. Oh, sorry. It's showing your previous matchup.
Oh.
157 to 90. That was the week 2 matchup that you guys had.
Yes. No, it's
okay.
It's a 8 point projected advantage towards me. But I think it's going to be close. Who do you like here?
I see Lamar is questionable. What's that about?
He'll play, let's be honest.
Okay. Let me look at these matchups here.
Back and knee injury for Lamar. That's why he's questionable. Alvin Kamara has rib and hand injury. Josh Jacobs, I think, was just a non-participant in practice. He'll probably be fine. Ankle.
Who do you think? Do you think Mark is going to start Zach Ertz or Hawkinson?
I don't know.
I mean I like the matchup against the Giants for Ertz.
Mark might even start Najee Harris on bye. He does love the Naj.
He loves the Naj and loves to put the Naj in when he won't score points.
Yes,
so.
yes.
I mean, it says you have quite the advantage here.
8 points.
Yeah, but all of your positions have the advantage.
Doesn't mean anything. My team likes to underperform. Other than David Njoku, who is the tight end of the last 2 weeks.
It's true. I am going to bet on the Wiz.
Okay.
If only because I want to see him succeed, and I would love to see him beat you.
Are you jumping on the Wiz bandwagon with me?
I'm on the Wiz wagon.
All right. I'm going to pick myself. I am better than you as a person. I will never pick against myself.
Well, that just makes me look stupid. So
sorry. All right, last match of the week. Top Dog versus the Dweller.
The Dweller.
Okay, what's crazy is Benton's projected 133 this week, which I think actually is the highest projection. Oh, Boompa's 135.
And Ross is 141.
Ross is 141. So Benton has the third highest projection this week. His team is good.
His team is good. I mean, especially
Cooper is back. Don't tell Lewis.
Cooper. You've got Cooper and Justin Jefferson. That's winning combo right there.
That's incredible that he has those two on the same team.
And Scary Terry is always an option.
James Cook against Miami again.
James Cook, yes, could have the huge game. David Montgomery, I don't love that.
I like the Ravens' defense against Denver, although Denver's offense has put some stuff together lately. yeah, what I but the Eagles are going against the Jaguars this week. And that's what gives me pause. From saying
Yeah,
it,
right.
from saying that Benton's going to win this week, and then you're like, "Oh, that's right." And with Ross's roster setup, if the Eagles score a touchdown on offense, Ross gets a touchdown on offense. If it's not a rushing touchdown, it's a passing touchdown. And if it is Hurts to Brown touchdown, he gets 10 points just on that one score alone.
Right. Alternatively, this could be actually quite similar. It could end up being that the Eagles just do a run game too.
And there's nothing wrong. Like,
No.
Ross still gets tons of points from
He
that.
will, but then that just caps Hurts and Brown. But unlikely.
I mean, this is almost a battle of the NFC East teams, right? You got Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown versus Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, it's true.
But again, just the fact that the Eagles are going against the Jaguars, and the Jaguars look really bad this year, I got to go with Ross.
Yeah, I'm thinking that you're probably right about that.
I'm still holding to the fact that Benton's 1-7 record does not reflect his team, especially with Koopa back.
I would love to see Benton win this week.
Yes.
And that would be such a reversal of fortune.
Yes.
You know, Ross versus Benton. Like, Benton beating him would be huge. And I would love to see it happen. And I will be watching this game closely, I think.
Well, and I mean, last season, the Eagles fell apart at the end of the season, right? Will it happen again? And if that happens, do you know whose team falls apart? Ross Miltimore. You better watch out.
Well, that is your preview for this next week. Going to be a lot happening. And
have you talked about a potential guest next week?
I have not talked, but I would like to extend the invitation to
I believe he's watching right now, so
Ross.
yeah.
Is it daylight savings this week, or is
Daylight savings is this Saturday, Sunday, yeah.
Okay, so Ross will only be 4 hours behind us instead of 5, which makes it so that maybe he could get off of work and do one of these like right away before dinner. So I will be contacting you, extending the invitation, Ross. I would love to set up a Zoom with you and maybe see how I could get that to work. So the invitation is out there, and yeah, we'll see who I have next week, if I have anybody other than Jacob.
No, whoa. We don't know if it's me.
Well, it's true. You are a guest.
I'm just a guest.
So anyway, it's been great. We will see you next week.
Bleh.